Hi, everybody, and welcome to the LA Strong Return and Rebuild Community Briefing Series. Here it is on Tuesday at 5 p.m. And we are grateful that we're able to join with you virtually and provide some updates from the City of Los Angeles on a variety of topics related to Palisades rebuild. I'd like to give a couple of announcements in terms of interpretation as we get started today. As a reminder, we do have American Sign Language and closed captioning available for all those who may be interested. You actually can see American Sign Language on your screen now by our interpreters who will switch off, so you don't need to even click tonight. They're just there on the screen for you. And then if you would prefer closed captioning, you can click on the link in your chat box now. After a brief delay, you should be able to see the closed captioning appear on your screen. Next slide. As a reminder, we are recording tonight's webinar or community update. You can watch tonight's recording as well as all previous Palisades community webinars at Mayor Bass's YouTube page. You can access that through the QR code on your screen, or you can just go to YouTube and type in Mayor Karen Bass. Next slide. After some brief remarks from Councilmember Park this evening, we will hear an update from DWP on the reservoir, as well as some updates from on debris removal and ROEs from the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as LA County Public Works. Then we'll hear some FEMA announcements and resources, as well as a few other upcoming events that you all should know about. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce the council member of the 11th District, Councilmember Tracy Park.
Jenny, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here today, as well as your ongoing commitment to staying engaged. I'm sure, as you're all aware, yesterday marked 90 days since the beginning of the fire that has forever changed our lives and our community and our city as a whole. I, in many ways, feel like the time has flown by, but at the same time, it has been the longest and most difficult days of my life, and certainly have been for everyone who was impacted by these fires. I had the opportunity to spend time yesterday in Eaton, and I will be leaving this week to go to Lahaina. I'll be meeting with government officials there to study and observe their progress, and we'll be looking a lot at the environmental impacts and environmental remediation that has gone on in Hawaii, just given the similarities between the coastal environments in Lahaina and the Pacific Palisades. I really want to thank Mayor Bass and our public safety and public works partners for their work to expedite the recovery efforts so far. While we all want this to be over so that we can return to a semblance of what we had before the fires, the work and the progress that has been made by our city departments, our friends at the county, as well as the incredible work of FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers, really truly is remarkable. And the progress that we are seeing here in Los Angeles is light years, frankly, ahead of what we have seen in many communities that have experienced similar scale of disasters. I also want to thank everyone who recently joined our ad hoc committee for LA Recovery. We held that meeting at my office at the Westchester Field office. Those meetings are a really important opportunity for everyone to be a part of the recovery efforts, to hear directly from the decision makers and the departments who are conducting the work on the ground. It's a great way to offer public comment and to ensure that we have transparency and accountability throughout the process. So I'd like to personally invite everyone to attend our next committee meeting. That will be Monday, April 21st at 10 a.m. in the council chambers in downtown. The meeting will also be live streamed if there's some reason that you're not going to be able to make it in person. So I know we have a lot of really important updates. So everyone, please continue to stay engaged and don't hesitate to reach out to me and my team if there's anything that we can do to be of service, or if you need additional help. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you, council member. Appreciate all of your leadership. All right, we're going to go now to an update from LADWP. Tonight, we have with us the manager for repair and construction for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, Russell Wall. Russell.
Hello, thank you. All right, so I'll provide an update on our Santa Ynez Reservoir. All of the cover we have finished the repair on the cover for the Santa Ynez Reservoir. We had some tears and some pinholes and some ember burns. We also had some damage to our control cabinet and a switch gear. Those have all been repaired. We began filling the reservoir on Monday, March 31st. We are filling at a rate of 1 to 2 feet a day. And so the reservoir will be filled in the early part of May. And just a quick update on the fire hydrants. So all of the 1,053 fire hydrants in the Pacific Palisades area are operating, and we have no reported issues of any of the fire hydrants. Thank you.
Thank you, DWP. With that, we'll go ahead and introduce Colonel Eric Swenson from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Hey, thanks, Jenny. Good afternoon, LA City. Just want to give you a quick update. We've been making some great progress here in the LA City community. Marquez Charter Elementary School is complete. Palisades Charter Elementary School is complete. And Palisades Charter High School is complete as well. We also recently finished the Palisades branch of the Los Angeles Public Library. And we also finished the Will Rogers Maintenance Facility as well today. So we are making great progress. In terms of overall stats, we have cleared the visible signs of the fire from 1,296 parcels. These are private single-family home residents within the LA City limits. And of those 1,296, we have completed final sign-off, returned the right of entry to the county and ultimately back to the city for 731 of those properties. So working at lightning speed. And then I don't know if my colleagues from the counties here. If not, I can just talk about rights of entry. So the screen you see in front of you, just as an overview of rights of entry, everything that you see in green has been turned over to the Army Corps of Engineers and is with our contractor. So you see lots and lots of green. We had about 838 opt-outs. Those are residents, some of you may be on the line, who decided to do the debris removal on your own. I remind everyone that if you change your mind and want to opt back in, or you haven't made a decision, you have until the 15th of April to make your decision. Also, there's roughly 800, just over 800 properties that people have submitted the right of entry, and it is in the county's process of getting those rights of entries validated and sent over to the Army Corps of Engineers. So if you're in one of those orange or yellow buckets, I would just ask you to be patient. And as soon as I get your right of entry, we will get out to your parcel and assess it, and then start doing debris removal as quickly as we can. I think that's my last slide.
That is right. Excellent. Next up, we'll introduce Mark from FEMA.
Hi, thank you, Jenny. And good afternoon, Los Angeles. I'm here to share FEMA updates and resources. We're adding our voice of encouragement to Councilwoman Park and others to submit those ROE forms. We're excited to be able to extend that deadline to April 15th, 1 week remaining. Submitting an ROE form allows property owners to participate in debris removal at no out-of-pocket cost. However, be reminded that FEMA cannot duplicate benefits. Even if you have insurance coverage for debris removal, you should still submit an ROE form. It's also helpful for us to know which properties are opting out of the program. Another announcement is FEMA has approved $111 million to date to eligible LA County residents impacted by the wildfires. That includes rental assistance, which is still available to eligible survivors. Rental assistance does not count toward the maximum grant, and you can go as long as 18 months as needed. FEMA is also pleased to share that owner-operated multifamily residential properties are now eligible for federally funded debris removal. This includes condos and duplexes with at least one owner-occupied unit. Each affected owner must submit an ROE form, and if the property is part of an HOA, the association must also submit one. Rental-only properties, however, remain ineligible, and landlords must use private insurance for debris removal. Lastly, FEMA encourages all survivors to read their determination letter very carefully. We admit they can be confusing. The FEMA letter may state that you're ineligible, but that may be a temporary decision as they are waiting for additional documentation. For example, insurance coverage or proof of occupancy. If you have any trouble with those letters or need a better explanation, you can get help from FEMA by going to disasterassistance.gov, the FEMA app, call the helpline at 800-621-3362, or visit a disaster recovery center, which remain open. We're here to help survivors receive all the assistance that they're eligible for. Back to you, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Mark. As a reminder, we do have FEMA as well as about 70 other local, state, county, and federal agencies at our disaster recovery center. They are still open. The closest one to the Palisades, of course, is at UCLA Research Park on Pico and Westwood, and they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So please take advantage of that. It is likely that the Disaster Recovery Center will be open through the month of April, but we are not going to be open forever. So we do hope that folks are able to go to the Disaster Recovery Center to get many of your questions answered, as well as troubleshoot any particular issue you may be experiencing related to your FEMA letter or questions you may have about those letters, since Mark did indicate they are indeed confusing. So you may want to talk to somebody in person on site, and we encourage you to do that. Again, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. At least those are the current hours. They may change a bit, but we do anticipate staying open through the month of April. Of course, we also have the other center, Disaster Recovery Center in Altadena. Our one-stop rebuilding center here in Los Angeles is located at 1828 Sawtelle Boulevard. There are new hours for this center. We really tracked very closely the number of people coming in to submit plans, to get questions answered about their permitting processes. And we actually identified that we did not need to be open on Saturday or Sunday, particularly for this purpose and this particular center. So the new hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. Again, that's for the one-stop rebuilding center. This is a centralized location where Palisades residents can access resources to rebuild your homes as well as your businesses. And you can access the services outlined in Mayor Karen Bass's executive or emergency order number 1 regarding streamlined rebuilding. There are approximately 10 departments with dedicated staff on site, specifically dedicated to answer your rebuilding questions. So we certainly encourage folks to stop on in. Walk-ins are absolutely welcome and appointments are not needed, and free parking is available on site. As a reminder, we are partnering with the Governor's Office on Engaged California, engaged.ca.gov. We invite you to sign up for this really exciting platform. It is going to be a tool that we use regularly between the city, the county, and the state to get your feedback on the priorities you'd like to see, the policies you'd like to see enacted in regards to the recovery and the rebuild. So we hope that you'll sign up. There are a series of questions, so it is one of those higher bar or higher entry items where you do have to fill out more than just your email address. We do ask a series of questions and ask you to opt in to some guidelines regarding how to engage in the community. But it is going to be a really important online forum, and we hope that you'll take the time to join and fill out the survey related to it. You can use the QR code on your screen or click on the link in your chat or go to engage.ca.gov to sign up as soon as you can. Next slide. Also coming up this Thursday, April 10th, there is a virtual town hall hosted by the LA County Department of Public Health. This town hall will review updates around soil and water testing and next steps regarding what to expect related to both soil and water testing. We hope that you'll be able to tune in for these important updates. And we hope to be able to bring a summary of some of those updates to our next webinar here on Tuesdays, next Tuesday as well. But please do sign up with the link in the chat and tune in to some of those important updates from the county. On Tuesday, April 22nd, there's also going to be a webinar hosted by the Insurance Commissioner, California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara. His office will be providing updates around claims, in particular, a virtual town hall. So we hope that you'll join. We will not, as the mayor's office, be hosting on April 22nd our webinar so that everybody can attend the Tuesday, April 22nd webinar with the Insurance Commissioner. So please RSVP today. With that, we're going to go ahead and open our conversation up a bit and hear some questions from you. You can use the Q&A app at the bottom of your screen. I know many people have been on these webinars before, but just as a reminder, in case you are new, you can click on Q&A in that question mark bubble and write your question into the chat. And those that are trending and will be helpful for many people on the line to hear your question, we'll read it out and then we'll direct that to the right person. So tonight we're going to actually start with some questions for Colonel Eric Swenson of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We have a couple of questions regarding debris removal. The first is related to updates. There's a question from Lee Mandel, and Lee is asking, can we get updates in advance of when the U.S. Army Corps is doing demolitions in our neighborhood? I assume that's related to simply understanding, noise and traffic and so forth. Is there any update system for geographic locations that you may be going to, Colonel Swenson, or is that really just to the specific property owner and lot owner that you'll be discussing those plans?
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't do notifications to neighborhoods. We just do it to the specific property owner 3 days out, 1 day out, and then we meet them the day of. If you have seen no activity from the Corps of Engineers on your street and you see porta potties and some supplies get staged on your road, you could assume that debris removal is about to start on one of the homes in the neighborhood.
Okay, excellent. Okay, we have another question from Cyrus. Cyrus Samnani is asking, I'm waiting to hear back from the Army Corps regarding phase 1 since they were phase 1 deferred. And Cyrus is asking, I was told that my questions were being sent to various members within the Army Corps, but I haven't been able to get an answer, and it's been 6 weeks. Again, I was deferred to phase 2 with no completion of phase 1. And Cyrus is saying that they're not opting into phase 2. So can you explain the situation when someone was deferred from phase 1, the EPA's phase, to phase 2? Yep. Can you explain, will the Army Corps be providing those services, or since they're opting out of phase 2 and going with the private contractor, is the private contractor responsible for that? Colonel Swenson.
Yes. So about 4,500 properties were deferred by the EPA's program, deferred to us. We've scrubbed that list. We've gone through somewhere over, I don't know the total number, somewhere about 33,351 of those parcels that were deferred to us have been completed. That's across both fire impacted areas. I think the Palisades fire impacted area, we've gone back and done 1,761 of the parcels that were deferred. I know there's a short list of about 120 parcels of people that had that had phase 1 deferred to the Corps of Engineers and had opted out. And so those are our priorities for our household hazardous material collection operations, because we want to give those people the best chance to be able to opt out and get their debris removed by a private contractor. But we have not completed all 122 of those yet. And I'm certain that after the 15th of April deadline, we could get additional folks to decide to opt out. And if that's the case, then we will also prioritize those parcels. If you were deferred to phase 2, so EPA deferred you, and you opted into the program, as soon as we get to your parcel for debris removal, we will do the household hazardous material first, then we will do the phase 2 debris removal second.
Excellent. So you are prioritizing those 120 approximate homes or lots where they have been deferred to the Army Corps, but have opted out.
Yep.
And so when should Cyrus anticipate hearing more, or what do you recommend for Cyrus? Because Cyrus was also saying they weren't able to get clarity or an answer.
Yeah, I would encourage him to reach out to my call center at 213-308-8305 and just explain the situation, and we'll take a note, and we'll try to we'll get all of his information. We'll look his property up in the system, and we'll be able to give a better approximation of when we can get his household hazardous materials removed.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we have another question from Gerald Kaminsky. Gerald is asking, am I correct in understanding that a half-mile radius around each of the 3 schools will be cleared by June 30th? I don't know, Colonel Swenson, if that is in your mission or someone else's mission, but let's take a stab at you answering it first.
Yes, we're trying to prioritize, obviously, debris removal around homes that are standing, debris removal for parcels that are near sensitive ecological locations, and obviously places where they're going to be re-inhabited soon by, say, seniors or children in school. So yes, we are prioritizing schools. You got to remember, I only do the parcels. I'm only responsible for the debris removal on the lots where people have opted in. So we are working to get a buffer around each school, but I can only influence that to the degree that people have opted in. If they've opted out, I have no ability to control that.
All right. And then Roseanne Landay is asking, will multifamily debris removal occur at the same time as that of single family residents? Or will multifamily wait until after single families are completed?
Yes, we haven't done our first multifamily yet. They're pending. We're doing some of the prep work now, and we anticipate starting to work on them in the coming days, and they will be done simultaneous to single family homes. Essentially, these are residential properties. They're just a multifamily residential where at least one of the units is owner occupied. So we are treating them like residential single family homes, and we'll work on them in parallel, but we have to do all the prep work first, and we haven't started our first one as of today.
Very good. Okay, Roseanne is also asking a follow-up question. If a multifamily building is within half a mile of a school, will debris removal be expedited? Will debris removal be expedited in order to clear the most difficult? I think that is the question.
I mean, again, we're trying to expedite debris removal from parcels that are located, in the vicinity of sensitive ecological locations, standing homes, and buildings such as schools that will be reoccupied soon. If you have a multifamily unit there, first the determination is it eligible? And I know there was a change in that eligibility recently, and we're working on getting that list of eligible properties into our universe of debris removal parcels. And once we get that in and we've done the prep work, i.e. the hazardous site assessments, we've marked all the hazardous trees, we've done the asbestos testing, then we'll start with the asbestos abatement and then debris removal. So the answer is yes, but it may not seem like a big priority if it takes a couple weeks, because we might have some prep work to do that has to get done before the visible signs of the fire ash and debris are removed.
Very good. Colonel, there's another question from Shannon Wickstorm. Shannon is asking why some of the trucks are going down Sunset. Colonel Saucer answered this question a few webinars ago, but I think it's a good one because a lot of people have questions about it. Shannon indicated that we were told at the beginning that Sunset would not be a haul route, but there seem to be a lot of trucks going down Sunset. Traffic is miserable. Tarps are not always being used, and there are 7 schools on Sunset, so this is a safety concern for our kids. Could you share a little bit more about why the trucks are going down Sunset at this point, Colonel Swenson, and anything more about the tarps and some of the concerns that Shannon's raising?
Yeah, so we're trying to spread and use every eligible road we can just to spread out our operations. We have over 1,200 trucks that are running each day in the Palisades fire impacted area. These are dump trucks of various shapes and sizes, hauling a variety of different things to include clean concrete, metals, woody debris, so tree parts, and some fire ash and debris. And so as Palisadians know, there's no easy way to get in and out of the Palisades or up Sunset or any of the canyon roads. And so we're trying to maximize our use of the roads so we don't overwhelm any one road and disadvantage one community over another. And so we are sending some trucks along Sunset. We're trying to minimize the truck impact on Sunset. But I will remind everyone that somewhere close to, I think, 1,000 parcels in the Palisades fire impacted area have opted out and are doing debris removal on their own. Plus, there are an awful lot of contractors returning to homes that are standing to replace roofs, to do fire smoke abatement, and a variety of other tasks, to include just normal traffic. So I acknowledge that these roads were challenging oftentimes before the fire, and the fire has exacerbated the traffic on them. But we were doing everything we can to minimize it. And I can control the trucks that work for me and make sure that they are all tarped in accordance with our processes and that they're all following the speed limit. I struggle to enforce that on other non-Corps of Engineer vehicles that are out there. But certainly, if anyone identifies any that are doing something wrong, certainly if you can get a picture and send it to the Corps, we will look into it. And know that we are moving very quickly, very, very quickly, and we will be done much before anyone probably expects. And in no time, we'll be out of here, and we'll return this community to start the next phase, which is the rebuilding phase.
Thank you, Colonel Swenson, and your entire team. We know that you all are working very, very hard and moving very quickly, particularly compared to other disasters. So thank you for all of your work. And so for folks, again, Sunset is being utilized. That wasn't necessarily the initial plan or what was communicated, but based on the level and the magnitude, the Army Corps has needed to use Sunset as well as other trucks. So that will continue at least for now. However, we are working. Mayor Bass sent out communications to hundreds of residents about the traffic on Sunset. We are working to identify alternative solutions, including various other routes potentially becoming available so that reduces that traffic on Sunset. So more to come on that. Please stay tuned. Mayor Bass has been working closely with folks in Sacramento, Caltrans, the governor's office. I know our Department of Transportation is working very hard and bringing in some traffic consultants to figure out how we can mitigate the impacts on Sunset. And we understand it's been difficult, and we are working hard to find some viable and workable solutions while at the same time continuing this accelerated debris removal process. Okay, Colonel Swenson, I have one more question for you, and then we're going to go ahead and transition to our colleagues at DWP. This question is for Craig Hunter. Craig is asking, how does the Army Corps notification work for condos? Is the notification to each individual owner or to the HOA board?
That's a great question. I don't think I've thought through that. It's normally would be to the HOA board versus every single unit. But let me get back to you on how we're going to do notification on. I'll bring that to the next town hall meeting. Let me think through a way that makes sense, that provides people with advance notice, and doesn't overburden the system and essentially slow us down. So.
Okay, very good. We will stay tuned, and we'll bring that back if when you come back next week, and we'll clarify that. Thank you for the good question and the honest answer, which is you're still thinking it through. Very good to know. Okay, so thank you, Russell, for joining. I saw that you popped on video here for some questions regarding the reservoir, the fire hydrants, and so forth. I do have a question here from Rick Siegel. Rick is asking, is there any way to be sure that the fire hydrants can be more efficient in the future?
Or I know we're working with the fire department on addressing the reports that are given to us, so that we can make sure and keep the fire hydrants in service.
All right, so you're going to use technology, you're going to use all the different means to help ensure that the fire hydrant situation is as secure and operational as possible. Is that
Right.
is
Correct.
that
And
what
we're
I'm
also
getting?
looking at streamlining the process on working with the fire department on getting those reports to us and getting them closed out as quickly as possible.
All right. Similar question from Catherine Sassi. Catherine is saying, what steps have been taken to ensure that the Santa Ynez reservoir and the Palisades hydrants will never be left in disrepair again? Can you give some folks some additional information about that?
So we talked about the fire hydrants. So for the Santa Ynez Reservoir, the repairs are complete. So we're going to be having it in service, and we have our reservoir crews that'll be inspecting it and making sure that we address any issues quickly and repair them quickly. So we'll be doing our inspections and our maintenance of the reservoir.
Okay, thank you. Similar theme, Christina Dolan is asking for a little bit more information about why trucks with water could they have been pre-deployed prior to the fires, and also in the future, how can water be trucked in faster, reservoir or not? I'm not sure, Russell, if that's a question for you or anybody else that's on the line from DWP. I know Jonathan Leong usually answers water questions, but that's generally drinking water questions. So I'm not sure if that question goes to him or to you, Russell, but since you're on the screen, Russell, can you answer that one? Is there a way for water to be trucked in faster, reservoir or not, in the future?
I think that's something we'll have to look at. I don't have the answer right now, but that's something we'll have to look at to see about getting water to those areas that need it. But I don't currently have an answer for that.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, with that said, I know that there are a number of other questions in the chat. I'll give you a break, Russell. But some of the questions in the chat are related to fees. I don't know if Councilmember Park is on the line. I'm happy to answer on behalf of Mayor Bass's office. But Councilmember Park, I know, has a motion regarding exploring the waiving of fees regarding the rebuilding. And so if Councilmember Park is on, you're welcome to come on and talk about that motion. And thank you for your leadership on that. Mayor Bass is also deeply committed to exploring all options in regards to fees and waiving fees for those that have experienced your home loss and need to rebuild due to the fires. We are in the process of deep analyzation in regards to these fees. Some of them do require legal changes. I know some of the questions in the chat are around why can't you do it by executive order and so forth. And some of them do require some ordinance changes in order to make the changes. So we are analyzing from every legal angle and figuring out what maybe we could do through an executive order and what requires legislative change. I know that it's taking us longer than folks had hoped. We are still working it through, and we will update on one of these webinars, hopefully very soon, the status of specific fees and when to expect resolution. So while I don't have the answer that I think folks are waiting for and wanting on this line, I did want to address the fact that I see the questions, we hear them, and we are continuing that analyzation as well as number crunching and figuring out what fees can go what pathway in order to support you all in getting your homes rebuilt quickly and with minimal fees. So thank you for the questions. All right. With that, I know we have some questions for DWP on the power side, a couple of questions. So I'm going to invite our colleague from DWP, John Vanacourt, to come on to the screen. There's a question that we've answered before, but certainly want to make sure that everybody hears it, who's on tonight's webinar regarding undergrounding and what to expect in regards to undergrounding. John Vanacore, could you share a little bit about what the status is and the next steps?
Okay, so as far as the status goes, I was just answering some in the Q&A. They're asking about the pathway. Typically, we don't run underground lines on property lines. So you're going to see when we do the design, it's going to go down streets because we'll be able to access infrastructure. So we're in that stage right now. A lot of folks were asking questions about the alphabet streets. Right now, we are restoring to all those areas with poles. We are going back to overhead for now so people can get temp power to rebuild. And then we're in the design stage for the underground. We are currently digging along Sunset from roughly Pali High all the way to the 405 and down to PCH to put it in the high voltage infrastructure. So I'm not 100% sure how to answer all the questions that they're asking because the neighborhoods are going to require a lot more design than we're currently doing. Does that answer what you were looking for, Jenny?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
All right.
Thank you very much. All right. I'm seeing also in the chat a number of questions regarding the traffic as well as the checkpoints. So I do want to express that we are hearing a variety of opinions on passes, checkpoints, and traffic. We are going to work with the governor's office to utilize Engaged California as a tool to capture all the feedback. I know some folks are saying, I want to reopen my business. I'd like to make sure that my business clients, whether they be an optometry office or whether they be a restaurant, that folks are able to access those businesses that may not live in the Palisades. Some people are also saying, could we just have the checkpoints at night? Some people are saying we need the checkpoints all the time. You know, it's a security issue for us. So there's a variety of opinions, and we'd like to get all of those opinions in one place and use technology to really analyze the different types of policy options that you all may be proposing, as well as hear your feedback in an organized fashion in a way that you all can interact with one another as well. So that platform that we're going to use for that dialogue is Engaged California. It is a tool that the governor's office has put out. If we could go ahead and put that slide back up, or at least put the link in the chat, I'd love to encourage everybody to sign up because that conversation will be had on that platform. And we'd love to get your feedback before we make any big changes. You can see that in the chat, Engaged California. Go ahead and go to that QR code as well as the link in the chat so that you can sign up and engage in that conversation. Again, we know there's a variety of opinions. We know that some people feel very, very strongly on one end or the other about the checkpoints and the passes. And so we'd love to really engage you in that dialogue together with as many thousands of Palisadians as possible so that we can really capture all of your feedback. So please do sign up for this platform, Engaged California, so that you can engage in that important conversation. I see Karen Gidwitz is asking, when will PCH reopen? We are in ongoing conversations with Caltrans and hope to be able to make an announcement about PCH in the very near future, but we don't have one at this moment. Karen, thank you for the question and for everybody that's asked about PCH. I'm going to go to a question for actually LADWP's Jonathan Leong. We have a question from Jamie Arami. Jamie is asking, is DWP still offering water quality testing for individual homes? Jonathan, can you come on and answer that question? Jonathan from DWP, are you on? I saw you on earlier. There you are, Jonathan. All right, could you answer Jamie Arami's question? Is LADWP still offering water quality testing for individual homes? Okay, Jonathan, I think you're frozen.
All right, I'm gonna have to find a better reception spot. Sorry.
Okay, we can hear you now. Maybe just stay on sound, but no video.
This is fine. Okay, hi. Was there a question?
Yes, the question is LADWP still offering water quality testing for individual homes?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Our water quality hotline is 213-367-3182. So please reach out to us and we provide that testing to any of our residents or property owners or renters for free. So please contact us.
All right, excellent. So the answer is yes. Please call the hotline and we'll get you that service out to your home. Thank you very much. And Mayor Bass, we see that you have joined us. Thank you. We'll go ahead and pass the mic to you now, Mayor, to share any remarks that you would like.
Well, thank you very much, Jenny. And let me just say, I'm sorry I was not able to join you at the top like I usually am. I join you when you're about ready to wrap up, but it's just so hard to believe it's been 90 days. It really is. Some days I know for people, it must feel like a year, and some days I'm sure it feels like it's been a lot less than 90 days. But I want us, to continue moving forward. I know we have a number of people that are going through the permitting and planning process, and we are looking at ways to make that better. We have heard you in terms of fees, and we're looking at that now to see how we might be able to bring relief. We know some are required by the state, so we're looking in to see how we can do that. A few days ago, I was with our school superintendent and talking about getting the schools rebuilt as quick as possible. And I was there when all of the debris was removed, and so the rebuilding is ready. I know you had said you were interested in the undergrounding, and so I'm hoping that the presentation that you got from DWP helps bring clarity to that. We know we're having a terrible problem around the traffic outside of the Palisades. The people from Brentwood, you are definitely up in arms and want us to do something about that. And so we're working on that. But what helps the most is to hear from you constantly, because we try to address the problems that you raise. And I appreciate your participation, and I look forward to us continuing to work together, and know that you are in the driver's seat in this. You are telling us what the issues are, and we're taking them on one by one and getting them addressed for you. So I look forward to having a conversation with you next week. Thank you for everybody that is on the line now. And we are going to continue until Palisades is rebuilt and you are back home.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. And we'll go ahead and provide a couple of additional announcements as we wrap up and close. We can go ahead and pull up our closing slides. As a reminder, we do have a set of frequently asked questions that are available online all the time at recovery.lacity.gov, as well as you can access the frequently asked questions through this QR code here on your screen. So we hope that tonight you'll take a look. If we haven't been able to get to your question, hopefully your question is answered through our FAQ document. We will update our FAQ document online throughout the next day or so with all the questions that you all are posing through the chat tonight. Next slide. As a reminder, next Tuesday, April 15th, we will reconvene at 5 p.m. for our weekly community briefing series. So please tune in, and you can register or RSVP tonight via this QR code, as well as the link in the chat. And finally, you can watch all previous webinars as well as tonight's webinar at the Mayor's YouTube page. You can access that by just going to YouTube and typing Mayor Karen Bass, or going to the QR code or the link in your chat. We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening, and we hope to see you next Tuesday evening. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.